initiator of Myanmar's rice banks learns how to conduct home visitations to distribute donated rice. We learn why an increase in water temperature is catastrophic on Taiwan's coral. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. 50 years ago, Tzu Chi began in Taiwan with a daily donation of 50 cents. Now in Myanmar, a similar daily donation concept has been actualized, not with money, but with rice. When farmer U San Thein began this rice-saving movement in Shunnaguan to help others, he never imagined that he would be able to inspire more people to also save a handful of rice each day. Now that a total of 500 kilograms of rice has been donated, he's looking to begin the next phase, which is distribution to the needy. But first, he and a few others must learn how to conduct home visitations from more experienced Tzu Chi volunteers. Myanmar Tzu Chi volunteer visit Tai Ki Township's Shunnaguan village once again, this time not to distribute rice nor hold an activity, but for a special assignment. Farmer U San Thein's actions to save a handful of rice to help others have inspired over 200 farmers in 5 villages to donate a total of 500 kilograms of rice. His rice storage methods have reduced insect and bug infestation, as his latest problem is how to distribute the rice. A group of like-minded farmers have gathered at U San Thein's home to learn how to conduct home visitations just like Tzu Chi volunteers do.
I know the Master's love has helped many of our villagers. Right now, I don't know how to conduct home visitations, but I am learning, such as asking for their information and report on cases in need. I want to learn how to help those in need with sincerity.
The difficulties Tzu Chi encountered during the early days of home visitations in Taiwan seem to be replayed in Myanmar.
I'm very grateful. Tzu Chi has given me rice. I'll pray for the volunteers as I hope more people can benefit from their love.
We're Buddhists. We know giving is good. We are also taking the opportunity to learn more about Buddhist teachings.
From walking in a farm field to their path of cultivation, this group of extraordinary farmers is doing everything within their means to follow in the footsteps of Tzu Chi volunteers. In Taiwan, an early morning residential fire in Yilan's Luodong on August 23rd left a husband and wife pair dead. After hearing about the tragedy, Tzu Chi volunteers went to the hospital and mortuary to offer their assistance. After nearly a 2-hour battle with the blaze, Yilan firefighters finally extinguished the residential fire. But unfortunately, the couple living there didn't make it out alive. The bodies were later delivered to the local mortuary. This tragedy left the couple's children with unexpected responsibility.
The children aren't familiar with funeral arrangement. Thankfully, their aunts have come to help them.
Police roped off the scene of the accident, a shop specializing in PVC tarps and other coverings run by the couple. Just beyond the charred metal shutter entrance, the first floor of the building has been reduced to ashes. The heat of the fire broke glass windows on the second floor, while the orange shutters on the third floor are warped. When firefighters finally got into the building, they found a male body collapsed near the top of the second floor stairs, and a female in bed in one of the rooms, both suffocating from the heavy smoke. Initial investigation of the cause of the fire traced it to near the stairs on the first floor, where the wooden cabinets are located.
The cause of the fire by our initial finding is that there was an extension cord for the fridge, which showed signs of short-circuiting.
I've already let the son know if they need help. Give us a call. We can help clean up the home as the fire burned all the way to the third floor.
In the days ahead, Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to help this family should they need further assistance. Lishan sits at an altitude of about 2,000 meters above sea level and has a unique beauty. However, after the 1991 earthquake, Lishan's fragile ecosystem was exposed, with mountain roads becoming susceptible to closure due to landslides. For residents of this area, accessing medical care can be quite difficult. Beginning in 2013, the Taiwan Tzu Chi Hospital has been sponsoring a bi-weekly traditional Chinese medicine clinic in this area, with a team of medical professionals eager to help these residents high up in the mountains.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital's traditional Chinese medical unit is preparing to undertake a long 154-kilometer trek to the Lishan area to host a free Chinese medical clinic.
Every time we travel up this mountain, we face different conditions, with the biggest challenge being raw conditions, especially this section from Dayulin to Lishan. If it rains, there can be problems, as the hillside could collapse, as we need highway authority to come and clear the road. This means we simply must sit at the side of the road and wait.
For residents of this area, they may need to wait as long as 2 weeks for medical care, a difficult challenge for those living with chronic pain. For 3,000 people in Lishan who only have one public health clinic, this, together with the aging nature of this population, leads to a serious shortage of medical resources in Lishan. Prior to the arrival of this traditional Chinese medical clinic, Mrs. Zheng Shuimei suffers from tingling in her legs all day. She can't even sleep at night because the pain will keep her awake. After receiving acupuncture, her situation has improved.
It's like a throbbing pain. Before, when I rolled over, I couldn't raise my leg, but now it's much better.
To maximize the effectiveness of these bi-weekly Chinese medical services, the medical team works with Tzu Chi volunteers who travel into the community, seeking out the infirm and elderly living alone. Although it's a long commute to this remote community, the opportunity to help these people makes the 154-kilometer trip worthwhile.
Taiwan's Eastern Tima chapter travels to Chenggong Township of Taidong regularly to host free clinics. This time, the event was held at Xingang Junior High School, with 90 medical staff offering 5 different medical departments and helping a total of 181 residents. Despite the heat, Tima members treated each patient with love and care.
Despite the heat, the dentist carefully treats each patient. Because there is no air conditioning at the venue, volunteers take turns fanning the doctors and patients.
We offer medical services in a variety of different places, but the way we serve each patient is the same. Changing places also improves our mood, allowing us to provide better services for local residents here.
Taiwan's Eastern Tima chapter travels to Chenggong Township of Taidong regularly to host a free clinic. Because it is inconvenient for local residents to seek medical treatment, many residents waited at Xingang Junior High School in the early morning for medical services. Mr. Chen suffers from a stroke and has to move around in a wheelchair. With his father's encouragement, he tried the acupuncture treatments for the first time.
I think it's better for him to receive traditional Chinese medicine treatment. I believe that his health condition will improve.
Tima and Tzu Chi volunteers collaborate to offer services for local residents, as 5 different medical departments, along with free haircut, were offered to meet the needs of local residents.
Tima's medical outreach once again visited New Taipei City's Pixi district to help seniors get the medical care they need. Many seniors in the area are plagued with chronic illnesses. Thus, to ensure these seniors are taking the right medication, doctors and nurses make home visits. These visits also serve as a way to ease the seniors' anxiety regarding their minor aches and pains. Seeing Tima members have come to visit her, 92-year-old Hu Umi sings a song to welcome them. Known locally for her voice, the senior has been gracing everyone with her original songs for nearly a century. But something has bothered her entire life.
啊，你有甲学无？
就较早要早拍甲學，
偌久啊？
10年啊。
This is the first time a doctor has made a house call to her home, and the senior's anxiousness has been put at ease.
啊，人生的唔通計拍無。哦，真。
Here in the countryside, the doctor-patient relationship is filled with more friendliness. With the local borough head leading the team, they next arrive at 88-year-old Lin Dao's home.
都一條無爽快啦，都感覺都一條無爽快啦。
我等一條無爽快，你先顧人無爽快。
先顧人無爽快。前一陣子我來吼。
When I saw them previously, the two seniors could still farm in the field. A few days ago, when I saw her again, it seems as if her memory and cognitive skills have deteriorated.
記憶跟思考方面都差很多。
For a house visit, there is never any fancy medical equipment nor surgical procedures to perform, only the doctor's kind words to ease the senior's worries.
Most of the time, it is chronic diseases. Many of them have long been taking medication for chronic issues.
這個是比較特別。
This is pretty special. We are treating them at home, just like messenger service. We have delivered a doctor to your home. It's a wonderful service.
挺好的。
For Tima's medical delivery service, it not only gives medication, but also brings blessings in abundance. Coral around the world is suffering the effects of changes to the environment. Some 93% of Australia's Great Barrier Reef is suffering from coral bleaching, and in Florida, a similar tragedy is occurring. One cause is El Nino, and it's higher than normal temperatures, resulting in a rise in ocean temperatures. Taiwan has been similarly affected, and the waters around Green Island have reached as high as 30 degrees Celsius this June, far exceeding the tolerable temperature for coral survival. Researchers warn that if months of higher water temperature continue, it could be catastrophic for Taiwan's coral.
A 12-meter tall Green Island mushroom coral is the world's largest porite coral in the world. It's estimated to be 1,200 years in age. Coral reefs provide a habitat for various fish, but this year's El Nino, associated with warming of the seas, much of the world's coral is disintegrating. This is Green Island's Silang coastline, and here we can see 10 volunteer divers carrying survey equipment to a depth of 5 to 10 meters to check the condition of the reef.
We found at the depth of 10 meters that it is possible for the water temperature to reach 30 degrees Celsius. It's quickly reaching the tolerance level of this coral.
The optimal temperature for coral growth is between 23 to 28 degrees Celsius. Once its sea temperatures dip below 18 degrees or above 29 degrees, the coral will die. In June of this year, temperatures broke a century-old record in Taiwan, and the seawater continued warming.
If the temperature rises too high, all of the coral will become bleached and will die in 2 or 3 weeks. And if it lasts for too long, then all of the coral will really die.
Coral bleaching is a common phenomenon in Taiwan and the outlying islands. It's also a major test for oceans around the world. The world's largest coral reef, Australia's Great Barrier Reef, runs for a total length of 2,300 kilometers. But scientists have recently found that 93% of the coral reef is facing the effects of severe bleaching.
Global coral bleaching speed is intensifying as seawater temperatures quickly warm. This is exceeding the ability of organisms to self-adjust and overtaking evolutionary mechanisms to adapt to the environment.
Normal coral has a dazzling array of color as it's covered with dazzling symbiotic algae, providing food and shelter for fish. Corals cannot stand warmer sea temperatures, which can cause the symbiotic algae to leave the coral, resulting in a white calcium carbonate skeleton, which is called coral bleaching. The plight of Green Island's coral isn't simply tested by higher sea temperatures, but also the eutrophication of surrounding waters, because the island has no sewage treatment plant. This means that more than 2,000 residents and tens of thousands of tourists are directly discharging their sewage into the sea.
Sewage directly being discharged into the sea under these circumstances could also lead to fast breeding of algae.
Algal blooms in the absence of algae-eating reef fish due to human interference has left coral to be surrounded by layers of algae, leading plankton to starve, causing an ecological imbalance with other prey and predators being affected. A crown of thorns starfish can be found on this porite coral, which has been bleached to death.
The crown of thorns starfish grows quite quickly if there is lots of oxygen in the water. But if there are too many nutrients, rapid growth in this ecosystem can lead to its gradual destruction.
Humans have caused this marine ecological imbalance due to overdevelopment, leading to a reduction in coral and fish. Kaohsiung Marine University is using tires, PET bottles, and telephone poles to produce artificial reefs, which are sunk to a depth of 15 to 30 meters. Fewer and fewer natural reefs provide habitats for fish, as they now need artificial homes.
Artificial reefs can allow fish to come here to avoid predators and become a habitat.
In the past, humans always thought that marine resources were inexhaustible. Now, however, we are learning very quickly that this beautiful sea can soon be depleted due to the consequences of our actions, such as pollution. If we don't make a change, our children may not be able to enjoy the wonders of the deep blue sea.
Environmental protection has become a global issue as climate change impacts not only humans but also animals. In the Philippines, the director of the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter, Alfredo Lee, as well as the Tzu Chi volunteer, Conchita Tan, eagerly promotes the benefits of a meatless diet to their family. They point to their own improvement in health since embracing a vegetarian diet as an example.
Conchita Tan pays attention to the health of her 3 grandchildren. This mixed drink is made out of Jinsi food products that Mrs. Tan has long trusted in. She started to embrace vegetarianism since she joined in Tzu Chi in 2003.
Master Zhen Yan always encourages people to eat a meatless diet. As a medical worker, I think we should cherish life by eating vegetarian food only.
As Mrs. Tan always promotes the benefits of eating meatless food at home, their grandchildren have become vegetarians since 2007.
My grandmother shared with us that when eating chicken or pork or anything from animals, we actually don't know how much pain the animals have suffered.
I encourage everyone to avoid meats because vegetarian meals are much healthier, and it can also prevent us from killing animals.
People can start to embrace vegetarianism by changing what they eat. Alfredo Lee no longer suffers from tonsillitis because he doesn't eat meat or seafood after going meatless 21 years ago. Now, Mr. Lee usually eats vegetarian meals with his family at home.
In our dinner table, we can talk about our experiences for the day, we can share stories, lessons that are learned, and that is unexpected benefit, and we're very happy that our family has become very much closer to each other.
When Mr. Lee's daughter had a family of her own, she thought it was important to pass on vegetarianism to her children.
When we decided to educate our children about vegetarianism, many thought our children wouldn't get sufficient vitamins or nutrients. However, our children developed healthier and stronger than other children who aren't vegetarian. So I think they are good examples of the benefits of being a vegetarian.
Examples of these 2 families demonstrate the power of a vegetarian diet. Changing eating habits and embracing a meatless diet can make everyone healthier and stronger.
To celebrate the 7th Lunar Month, volunteers from the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter have been promoting vegetarianism for 21 days with 13 enterprises participating in this event. After tasting some meatless dishes, some of the staff members have changed their original concepts of a vegetarian meal. Some even invited their children to join in this vegetarian campaign.
32 vegetarian lunch boxes have been delivered to the office on time. In response to the 21-day vegetarian campaign hosted by Tzu Philippines chapter, the boss, who is also a Tzu volunteer, Mrs. Woon, invites her staff to eat vegetarian meals.
And then sana ma-realize nila kung ano.
I hope these staff members can feel blessed in their lives after eating vegetarian meals.
A woman has ordered 2 vegetarian meals. One is actually for her son, which serves as dinner.
Build for my son.
My son has also joined the 21-day vegetarian campaign and he loves it.
Some used to be meat lovers before they participated in this event. They had never thought that the taste of vegetarian food could be so delicious.
Personally, ang na-discover.
I have changed my original concept of vegetables after eating the vegetarian meal as my lunch. I feel my body less burdened and my digestion has been apparently improved.
I used to suffer stomach aches very often, but after eating more vegetables, I have lessened the burden on my stomach. I no longer have a pain in my stomach.
Up to now, 13 enterprises have adopted the vegetarian diet. Tzu volunteers deliver vegetarian meals to every office, no matter how many meals are ordered. Many staff members respond positively to vegetarianism and even believe that they can continue to go meatless for the next month.
In Tainan, Mrs. Yin stayed in an ICU for nearly 1 month after undergoing gastrointestinal surgery. Tzu volunteers cared for her by visiting her at the hospital and regularly cleaning her house, hoping she could rest more comfortably after being discharged from the hospital.
As Mrs. Yin has been transferred from an intensive care unit to a general ward, Tzu volunteers come to care for her. After Tzu volunteers confirm the time when Mrs. Yin would be discharged from the hospital, they pick her up and help clean her house. As there are a lot of trees and weeds around Mrs. Yin's house, Tzu volunteers had to begin cleaning her house from the outside.
She just underwent an operation, so it's inconvenient for her to clean up her house. Therefore, we mobilized Tzu brothers and sisters to help with the cleanup to allow her to recuperate.
Before Mrs. Yin stayed at the hospital, she lived with her ill husband here. Although she was healthy at that time, she was unable to deal with household chores. Through this cleanup, Tzu volunteers bring wishes and love.
Mrs. Yin's husband has settled in at Tainan Hospital. The borough chief said that he's currently in an intensive care unit. He needs to receive the dialysis treatment once every 2 days and 3 times a week.
Worried about Mrs. Yin's solitary life and the inconvenience of taking care of her surgical wounds, Tzu volunteers offer her further assistance and take her to follow-up checkups. Despite all of these challenges, Tzu volunteers expect that Mrs. Yin can get back on her feet soon.
New Taipei City Tzu volunteers recently held a stem cell registration drive in汐止district to encourage more people to sign up to save a life. The response from the local residents was overwhelming. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.